African Union Communications, Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals, intelligence, and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I am Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of 19th of March 2026, the armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. The North Group of Forces improved the situation along the front line. Russian troops inflicted losses on the manpower and hardware of a mechanized brigade, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade close to Myropolye, Novaya Sekh, and Grabovskoye in the Sumy region. In the Kharkov region, units of two mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a National Guard brigade were hit near Yurchenkovo, Izbitskoye, Kolodeznoye, Staritsa, and Volchanskaya Kuthora in the Kharkov region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 155 troops, 5 motor vehicles, and 2 artillery guns. 7 ammunition and materiel depots were destroyed. The West Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Russian troops inflicted losses on the manpower and hardware of 2 mechanized brigades, an unmanned aerial vehicles battalion of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade near Borovaya, Monakinovka, Shikovka, Novosinovo, Velikaya Shapkovka, Glushkovka in the Kharkov region, Krasny Liman in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novoyegorovka in the Lugansk People's Republic. The enemy losses amounted to up to 160 troops, 17 motor vehicles, 1 field artillery gun, and 3 ammunition depots. As a result of intensive actions, units of the South Group of Forces liberated Fedorovka Vtoraya in the Donetsk People's Republic. Strikes were delivered at formations of 3 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, a motorized infantry brigade, and a mountain assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine near Krivaya Luka, Alexeyevo-Druzhkovka, Golubovka, Konstantinovka, Nikiforovka, Ilyanovka, and Stepanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 185 troops, 7 armored fighting vehicles, 11 motor vehicles, and 1 field artillery gun. 1 electronic warfare station and 4 ammunition and materiel depots were destroyed. As a result of resolute actions, the Center Group of Forces liberated Pavlovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The group's units inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 2 mechanized brigades, an infantry brigade, an airmobile brigade, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, a marine brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades close to Shevchenko, Belitskoye, Novoalexandrovka, Dobropolye, Kucherov Yar, Kutuzovka, Toretskoye, Grishino, and Novonikolaevka in the Donetsk People's Republic, Novopodgorodnoye, and Novopavlovka in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 345 troops, 2 tanks, 8 armored fighting vehicles, 19 motor vehicles, 1 field artillery gun, and 1 electronic warfare station. The East Group of Forces continued advancing to the depth of the enemy's defenses. Russian troops inflicted losses on a mechanized brigade, an air assault brigade, an assault brigade, and 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine close to Vozdvizhevka, Lyubitskoye, Kopani, Dolinka, Zalivnoye, Zarnitsa, Komsomolskoye, Mirnoye, Lugovskoye in Zaporozhye region, and Pokrovskoye in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 285 troops, 2 armored fighting vehicles, 3 motor vehicles, and 1 US-made 155mm M777 howitzer. 2 ammunition and materiel depots were neutralized. The Dnieper Group's units inflicted losses on the manpower and hardware of a mechanized brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade near Grigorovka, Belenkoye, Orakov, and Shcherbaki in the Zaporizhia region. More than 55 troops, 7 motor vehicles, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 2 ammunition depots of the armed forces of Ukraine were neutralized. Operational Tactical Aviation. Attack drones, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian groups of forces hit Ukrainian energy and transport infrastructure, used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine. Preparation and launch areas of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 148 areas. Air defense system shot down 6 guided aerial bombs and 356 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 125,087 unmanned aerial vehicles, 652 anti-aircraft missile systems, 28,345 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,690 MLRS combat vehicles, 33,932 field artillery guns and mortars, 57,192 units of support military vehicles.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.